Greetings, my fellow pilgrims. I am Doug, and what I want to talk about right now is the decision to bring sandals on the Camino and which ones you might like. Alright, so what I have before me here are representative sandals from two very popular companies, one of them being Teva and the other being Xero Shoes. These are the Hurricane XL2. This is the Xero Shoe Z Trail. In a previous video, I talked about the fact that it's a good idea to bring up a backup pair of shoes on the Camino. I know that when I'm backpacking, when I get to where I'm going, I like to be able to take off the boots or shoes that I've been hiking in all day and have some nice airy sandals to wear around camp. They're also great for creek crossings and maybe mud and just anything where you would just rather kind of get on through it and have a quick way to clean off your feet and your shoes and then get back into what you're hiking in without ruining them for the day. Now, I've used Tevas for quite a while. I love them. I just got the Xero shoes. I had heard about these before, and I was playing around with my ultralight Camino settings one day. If you go to the blog, you can see what came of that. But what I came to realize as I was cycling through my gear was that the sandals that I thought I'd be bringing, these Tevas, are extremely heavy. These Tevas weigh about 10 ounces a piece, which means that you're looking at like 1.25 pounds just to have these hanging off your backpack. My Camino cousin had said that she was getting Xero shoes, so I looked them up and I checked them out, and I found that these bad boys only weigh 11 ounces. Now, there are some advantages and drawbacks to both of these. I am not going to say that one is right and the other is wrong. Both of these, like most gear, are great for different things, and it just depends on which set of features is more important to you as you're going down your Camino, which ones you want to try out. The idea with the Tevas is that these are thick hiking sandals. They have an EVA foam insole with a nylon shank for stability, and the bottom is made of what they call durabrasion rubber. So the bottom of this feels kind of like a tire on a car. Nice treads, sticky, very grippy. They have the standard Teva straps that they made pretty popular. So you've got one that kind of crosses over the back of the toes, up the side. It's got a nice thick padded ankle strap in the back, which helps with blisters. And they are very adjustable. You have adjustment points across the top of the foot near the toes, front of the ankle, back of the ankle, so you can really dial these things in to your liking. You do want to adjust these around until your foot is seated correctly, but once it is, these are very, very comfortable. That's some thick foam. The stack height here ranges by my measurement from about 20 millimeters at the thinnest point up here at the front by the toe to close to 40. So these are not a zero drop sandal by any means. As you can see from their profile, this is more of a hiking boot than a flip-flop type sandal. They're a little slippery on the top, especially if they're wet or you start to sweat. However, they also dry off very quickly. The straps are okay comfort-wise. At a couple of points, I feel like I'm getting a little bit of dig, maybe from the Velcro, or they just pinch a little bit. I haven't really got them dialed in perfectly, but I think with a little bit of work, I can get them pretty comfortable. Now on to the Xero shoes. The idea behind the Xero shoe was to make something very lightweight, very naturally tactile, so that you can feel more of the trail with your feet. They're very lightweight. I mean, you can just pretty much, roll these things up. There's just not a lot there when it comes to the sole. They have a 10 millimeter stack height all the way across because they are a zero drop sandal. That means that you've got the same depth of padding in the front as in the back, and so the way your foot falls is going to be very natural. You'll notice there is no arch support. There is no ankle support. There's a little back wall here to keep your foot from slipping out, but what you're actually standing on is very minimal all the way across. It's got some good knobby traction on here. There are actually 3 layers. There's a rubber, a trail foam, which is a little stiffer, and then a comfort foam on top here, which I have to admit is really nice. This feels good on the feet. And again, super lightweight. You get these on, you get them dialed in, you can very easily forget that they're even there. So the strapping on these is called the Z shape. It's a single strap that you basically just tension up at 2 different points to get it to hold onto your foot. Velcro in the back for sliding the foot back and forth, and basically it's just a minimalist sandal. Now this last weekend, I took these out with me because I'd never worn Xero shoes before. I'd never worn minimalist sandals before. Of course, I'd have cheap flip-flops and that sort of thing, but I'd never really worn anything quite this thin and small that was supposedly going to be good for even trail running or hiking. About a mile in, I switched out my Ultra Lone Peaks for these. I did a little bit of creek walking, I did a little bit of road walking, I did some gravel walking, I even did some weed thrashing, and I would say that these did a good job. Not being a barefoot minimalist type hiker, I was somewhat shocked at the impact that my feet were having on the trail. There is really not much there for your heel, and when your heel comes down, you feel it. So you've really got to have your barefoot technique down well before you try these out. I would definitely not put these on and go out and try to knock out 20 miles. As I walked, I noticed that when it came to sharp rocks and just gravelly kind of trail, these felt fantastic. Didn't have any problem with it at all. Where I did notice discomfort was when I was stepping on maybe a big root or a sizable rock. When my foot hit that and kind of warped around the arch, I definitely felt some discomfort there. Definitely could tell that I was not getting the kind of support I would have had with something like these. But all in all, I ended up putting 2.5 miles on these from the very first time I ever tried them. And when I got back to my car, I discovered that I didn't really want to take them off. I was still plenty comfortable in these sandals. Now, I would not have wanted to walk, say, 10 miles in these. Even on this pretty soft, easy trail I was on, my feet would have been aching with these after that much distance. Something I just need to get used to. I'm used to a bit more arch support. So having something just, flat as a pancake with very little cushion is something I would have to get used to. As far as traction goes, they are pretty different looking. I would say that they're both decent. They're not the greatest. Neither one is really the greatest gripper that I've ever worn in a shoe, but as far as sandals go, they do well. I did not feel like I was sliding around in either shoe, but the Tevas definitely beat out the Xero shoes if you're looking for your more standard mountain climbing type soles. So what do I think about the two of these? Well, for hiking, for going the distance, I would definitely bring my Tevas. My feet just can't handle having no arch support as I'm walking along. If I planned on doing any major parts of the Camino in sandals, the Tevas would have to come, even though they weigh quite a bit. However, I am bringing lightweight shoes. They're not uncomfortable. They don't hold in heat. In other words, they don't have a lot of the features of your hiking boot. So at the end of a long hike, I don't feel like, oh my gosh, I got to get these shoes off my feet. Yeah, I want to take them off, and it feels good to have my feet out in the air, but that's going to be true with whatever sandal I bring. So for me, since I'm not really planning on doing a lot of the Camino in sandals, but really wearing them more as an around town, shower shoe, or just to give my feet a break, the weight savings on these Xero shoes is considerable. So, given that I am not going to be doing a lot of serious, technical mountain climbing on the Camino, and I'm not planning on using my sandals as a secondary hiking shoe, but really more of something around town and in the flat areas where I could probably just be barefoot otherwise, for me, I think the Xero shoes are going to be the way to go. Overall, both of these sandals are great at what they do. If you're looking for a hiking, climbing sandal, in other words, a sandal version of, say, a hiking boot, that's really where the Teva Hurricanes come in really well. The bottom of this sandal feels a lot more like a hiking boot than a sandal. If, however, you like the Xero drop minimalist feel. If you would rather go barefoot, but you just want some extra padding under your feet so that you're not getting stabbed. All right, I hope this video has helped you make a decision about your Camino sandals. Whether you go with these brands or others, I hope I've given you some good considerations to think about. If this video has helped you out, please give it a like, hit that thumbs up, click on subscribe so that you get notifications of future videos with the bell reminder. Until next time, I am Doug. This is Camino 2020. Buen Camino.